right, well, welcome to this week's podcast. We have one of Des Moines' finest, police officer Ernesto Escobar. Ernesto, welcome to our show.
Morning.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
That's good. All right, well, tell us about yourself. Where are you from, and how did you end up deciding to be in the law enforcement?
Yeah, so I was originally raised in Oregon, born in Portland, Oregon, and decided to come out to Iowa for wrestling. That's what brought me out to here. Mm-hmm. And I'm just a typical guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you decided what university to go to, and
I went to
Grandview University.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit about Grandview University. They are the top NAIA wrestling school, right? Would you say probably in the last 5 years or so?
For the last 8 years, they've won the national title. Yes.
Every year they have?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they are the dominant program
Yes.
in the Midwest. So that's a big deal to be able to qualify or to get recruited from Oregon to go to Grandview. So
Absolutely.
that's awesome. So what was that recruiting process like? Did they send someone out to watch you, or do you send videos to them? How did that work out?
Yeah, so one of my coaches knew one of the coaches out there.
Okay.
And they had exchanged some words about me. I sent them film of my performances, some of my good matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And after the state tournament, they wanted me to come out and visit, and I ended up just registering.
Yeah.
And I took a shot in the dark, and at that time, I think Grandview had just won their first title.
Okay.
And I just felt like it was a good option, a good program to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. So deciding to go to Grandview University, one thing that's really exciting about Grandview is that it's kind of been fun to see over the last few years growing up. I mean, I'm a lifelong Des Moines resident, but just to see how they've been investing in the school and trying to get bigger and better. So that's been really neat to see. And then they started their football program probably similar time as the wrestling program, and they're one of the best NAIA schools. They just lost in the national semifinals, and then wrestling they're pretty dominant. So it's pretty awesome. So what did you decide to study at Grandview?
I decided to study criminal justice.
Oh, okay.
Initially, and then I jumped to business, and then I came back to criminal justice.
That's great. So what did that degree look like? What did you study? Because my understanding is, in order to be a police officer, you don't have to have a 4-year degree, correct?
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
Certain departments depends on who you work for. They will prefer it. Some require it. So it's really up to each department. I believe as a trooper, you can become a trooper at 19 years old. In some departments, usually most departments are 21 years old to be able to apply.
Yeah. So what did you study? What was the criminal justice like? What were some classes you took? Because I'm not familiar. I went to Drake and have a business degree, so.
Yeah, so a lot of criminal justice classes are actually a lot of like psychology and sociology classes, and then they teach you just a lot of things about the history of people and laws as well. A lot of different law classes, and at Grandview too, there was a few different classes that I appreciated that had teachers that were adjuncts. Some, like one of the professors, she used to work with a department in the past, so she had like real experience and was able to teach in the classroom as well.
Mm-hmm. That's so important, yeah, in college. My favorite professor at Drake is the president at DMAC West, but he was the marketing director in Chicago before he became the president at DMAC, and Dr. Postgen. But yeah, when they can apply book study and actually real life experiences, those are the best classes to
Absolutely.
take. So was there like a certain subject in college or class that you liked, that you can identify was your favorite, or any subject line that you found most fascinating?
Yeah, I think I even took some Spanish courses and Spanish for law enforcement, which is important, and it's actually it was interesting because for me, I was raised speaking Spanish my whole life, and I learned it when I was young. However, the spelling and the reading wasn't as good as English, and then it's completely different when you turn it into terms of law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't really learned a lot of that stuff, so I had to learn that and I learned a lot of that through college.
Yeah, I think it'd be really challenging because, especially writing reports, I mean, past tense, present tense, all that stuff, like technicality would be so important to really write that too, and then also take statements and then for translation. And that would be, very fine-tuned. It's one thing to know the language as your second language or primary language, but when you actually go through the form, I could see how that'd be very, very important. So I think that, it seems like in Central Iowa there is a growing population of Spanish speaking, so it's really important for when people feel comfortable in reporting. I think that'd be really helpful too if they're newer to the country, to be able to go right to you and other Spanish speaking police officers. So when did you kind of decide that you wanted to pursue law enforcement? Was that, since you studied criminal justice in college, was that something like as a kid you're thinking about, or was it?
Yeah, so I had interactions when I was younger with police officers. They were good. I haven't had any issues. And in a sense, I was really just afraid of them, kind of.
Yeah.
They looked pretty menacing sometimes in Oregon. And actually, my mom really wanted me to be a lawyer and become a lawyer. So and my older brother, he studied criminal justice, and I used to. I kind of just got the idea of, I like the idea of law, I like the idea of all that stuff. So that's what led me to the criminal justice field. And initially, I was still thinking maybe lawyer, maybe somewhere around around those lines, but I hadn't really decided I'm going to be a police officer like day one. It wasn't actually until I went on some ride-alongs, I believe it was my junior year in college, that I started going on ride-alongs with some troopers, state troopers from Iowa, and then I was like, I want to be a trooper. They're cool. I love Chargers. They're great. And then I got an internship at Urbandale, and I got exposed to the city police side of things, and I really liked that aspect of being able to interact with people and help them out, and it just a variation of different calls. And so I ended up deciding after that to go that route, and to just I was like, I was fit. I liked the idea of being able to drive a cop car and wear the uniform and go help people out. So
that's a lot of I think you're an illustration of, like, in college sometimes. I know when I was in college there's a huge pressure to know exactly what you want to do the rest of your life, but just through kind of inching along, you can kind of just things kind of, your primary focus was the law, and then you end up here, and it seems like it's been a really good fit so far.
Absolutely.
No, that's wonderful. So what is the I don't know anything about the police department other than they want to protect and serve our community. So what is the organizational chart within the Des Moines Police Department? How does that how does that work?
Well, there's different ranks, and there are officers, then there are supervisors, which usually are called like sergeants.
Okay.
And after your sergeant, you'll usually have like a lieutenant or someone in charge of that sergeant, and then it goes up to like your captain, and after captains, it can be majors and chiefs of different departments. So there is different ranks and it goes the same way with when you're a patrol officer or when you're in like a detective, or if you work in some sort of different field within the department. There's always leadership and structure within each one of those divisions.
So what is your specific job title?
I'm a senior police officer.
Senior police officer. And then what is a typical, what are different shifts that police officers work, and then what does a typical day look like?
So my typical hours, I work 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., so I work the overnight shift. And in night sometimes it can be really busy, where we're just going trip to trip to trip, or it can be rather slow sometimes. So it just kind of depends on the nightly basis. Sometimes you just have one major event that can tie you up for a whole night. that's the other exciting part about this job is you really don't know what you're going to do that day.
So when your shift starts at 9, does that mean you're in your car and you're patrolling, or are you in the office? What does that look like typically?
Yeah, so we'll usually go in 9 and we'll have roll call. We'll make sure that everyone that's supposed to be working that night is working that night. If there's any information that we need to know about, some incident that happened earlier in the day, or anything that would be helpful for us to know that we're looking for someone,
sure.
or something like that, we'll be informed of that stuff, and it'll be a short meeting, and then or they'll have different trainings, like we'll have to watch a video or something to keep us up to date, and then we'll hit the streets. And my car is my office.
Yeah.
So that's usually where I do a lot of my work.
Yeah. Do you have someone you ride with, or are you just one police officer, one car?
It really just depends.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I'll have a buddy of mine or someone that you'll be paired up with, and then you'll be a partner for the night, and then you'll be what we call like a 2-man car. So then those cars are very beneficial to have 2 officers, because there are a lot of situations where we send 2 cops most of the time. So it's nice when you just have one car go to that situation.
Yeah. So growing up watching Cops on Saturday night, like myself, is Cops, I mean, I'm assuming that's somewhat accurate on, or some things. Or...
Yeah, they show all the exciting stuff usually, though.
Yeah.
They don't show, the reports that you write for, like, the thefts that occur every day, and they don't show, a lot of times when you have to assist with medical conditions, stuff like that, or even... It's been a while since I've watched Cops, to be honest, so I haven't been too in tune with it.
Yeah.
But
so how often do you have to do foot chases, like per month? Does it? Have you had to do any foot chases? Seems like Cops is always about running and sprinting.
Yeah, no,
chasing.
They do happen.
They do happen. Okay.
They do happen all the time. I haven't. I've had a couple recently. One was a pretty long one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were chasing a kid for like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
This is probably like 2-3 miles then, probably.
It was just all around. We were kind of going in circles.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, it again, nothing is, there's no, like, structure to what happens every day. It's kind of just, sometimes it happens more often than other times.
Yeah. Have you had, from your wrestling background, has that been an asset, or, I mean, has that been helpful to know
absolutely.
how to,
wrestling helps me out in a lot of ways. Not only like, especially just like the mentality training at Grandview, and kind of how was taught there, and to do more, never quit, type stuff like that. But physically, like I said, we'll get in foot chases, we'll get in fights or scuffles where people don't want to get arrested. And so those are times that are scary, but at the same time, we have to do them, and we have to do our job.
Yeah. And
they've come in handy because as a wrestler, I know how to manipulate, a body. And I know how to use my own body and control my own body. And that's come in hand many times. So.
Yeah, so has there... how often do police officers get injured? What do you say, just from?
It doesn't happen super often.
Yeah.
But it does happen. One of my coworkers, him and I, we got in a brief fight with a guy that didn't want to go to jail, and he wanted to get away from us, and he was also a wrestler, so we both were able to subdue him and hold him down and finally get him into custody, and he got all scraped up and his face and his hands, and so it happens. Sometimes fingers get broken.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff. Fingers can get cut in a lot of different places, or so it just kind of depends.
Man, it's I've heard of like in the news that with domestic violence, like someone will act like they're calling, Domino's, but really calling the police department, and they kind of use code words and stuff, and you kind of only hope that they know what's going on. But in those situations, if you might be thinking, oh, it's just something small, but maybe someone's calling to maybe it's something bigger. So that'd be I could see how that could be exciting, but also
most times you go into a lot of calls and we don't actually have many details of what's going on, so it just kind of depends, and we use our instincts and we talk to enough people to know when people are lying to us, and just to know and like this doesn't seem very right. Something's off here.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Even like last night, I saw on the news here in Des Moines that 3 people got shot in a drive-by shooting.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And one of them was an 8-year-old kid, and I have a son that's 8 years old, and I mean that'd be a crazy night.
Yeah,
I'm sure, and I bet as like what's your mentality? Let's say you're shifting, like the baton was passed to you, so you're doing the new shift, and so you know that someone is. What's the word when someone's gone or like not found yet? What is there a code? What is the code word like?
Like when
an active shooter situation or someone like just.
Do you mean like someone's missing?
Yeah, like they haven't been caught, apprehended. So,
yeah. We there's a suspect still at large.
Yeah, so basically at large. That's what I was thinking of. So what is like the mentality like when you know there's someone who just shot 3 people? He may have been apprehended. I don't know yet, but like you're walking in to your shift like.
Yeah,
what are those situations like?
Yeah, we're very fortunate here in Des Moines, in the metro that we don't usually see a whole lot of that stuff, but we do on occasion. Yeah, and of course our we're concerned about the people that have already been injured, and then the people that could be injured, and then safety of ourselves as well.
Yeah, I think an active shooter just from a private citizen would be like the scariest thing because that person I knew that they're going to go to prison for a long, long time, and they're just kind of fighting for their life. Have nothing to lose, and that's where I'm thankful for people like you that has the training to like go after it. Yeah, it's pretty, that's and run right into that situation, and that's very, very scary and things like that. So, speaking of like some of the like a shift, you probably see a lot of different things you wish you didn't see. Or, I mean, this is your job, so things are unfortunate. So how do you stay encouraged, in this profession?
Yeah, well, a lot of times we do see stuff that is not normal, but it becomes normal to us if it makes sense. In a sense, we realize that we're there to help, and we're there. And sometimes it's easy to just separate yourself from like, this is not happening to me, this is happening to somebody else. I recently bought a house, and I've been working on that thing, and that's been great. Been great stress reliever. Yeah, stress coster as well sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Homeownership.
Yes.
We actually have another video of that. We'll show when it's done. So.
Yes. And I'm a part of a great church, and I think having close-knit friends around you that you can talk about what you see and what you do, I think that's been very helpful.
Yeah. So as a citizen, like, what is the best way to facilitate a good relationship with the police department? So how, like, if people are listening to this and are like, man, I don't know what to do, how do I show appreciation? Because it's not like the mailman, you see the mailman all the time, and during the Christmas season you can drop them a check and stuff. What is a way that just to have a good relationship? I mean, everybody wants, but how does that relationship?
Absolutely. So I know that there are certain communities that they have like a designated officer to them to take care of, like, if there's issues going on in that community, that officer is like responsible to help out. So a lot of times, I mean, even just going to the station and writing letters, I think, and actually thanking officers when you see them, I think that's we actually do appreciate it. Yeah. Even though sometimes we may not show it, but we do.
Yeah. We do. Yeah, I would imagine with how busy things are, and I think in real estate, a lot of people think, I just show homes and stuff, but there's a lot of paperwork stuff, which I enjoy, gets the job done. But a lot of the perception for you guys is that you're just driving and doing your thing, but there's a lot of back end stuff. So what you're saying is you guys are busy, but you do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those letters and things like that. What are some misconceptions that the public may have about your job, or common misconceptions between you see in movies and shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a comedy, but what are some misconceptions the public may have?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot. We probably don't even have to talk a lot about what's going on today in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that we have here in Des Moines, in our metro area. I know a lot of officers, and I know that they're great individuals that love to help people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that is a huge misconception that goes around, that we that we don't actually care about people, that we're just trying to use our power to do other stuff, and I don't think that's true. I think that we don't just drive around. We actually go and like you said, we're busy. We're taking calls, and we do a lot of stuff that the public doesn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if they would want to go on a ride along, that would be a beneficial thing for them to see what we actually do. We deal with medical conditions. We deal with your regular thefts. There are officers during the day that if you see a little kid playing, they'll go and talk to them and hang out with them and actually get to know them. So we're not out there to just scare people. That's not the intention. No.
Yeah, you're there to protect and serve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just like any industry, there might be some people that give a bad reputation, but no, overall, my whole life experiences with police officer have been really good. I mean, you're there to protect and serve, and
yeah, absolutely.
I think everyone's favorite videos are when police officers are playing like 2-on-2 basketball with teenagers.
Yes.
And
you won't catch me doing that. I'm not very good at basketball.
Yeah, but those are awesome when a lot of them have the stature, but they're just loving the kids and playing with
absolutely.
them. Those are maybe that's something the public and the community can do if they see it. Take pictures and post those things to show some of the unseen things that police officers do. And I didn't know that ride-alongs, that people can request those. And I think that'd be really good. Mm-hmm. That I'd love to see that more, that people
absolutely.
Get a better idea.
It's a great way to actually know the officers, too, that are in your area or that are actually on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So, all right, got a couple kind of silly questions for you. So how many donuts do you eat on each day, would you say? Are donuts a real thing?
See, I've loved donuts before I became a cop.
Oh, okay.
So I do know some officers that they solemnly swear they'll never eat a donut while they're in uniform.
Oh, sure.
I know other officers that they'll get a donut whenever they've gotten some drugs or something. They've done a good traffic stop.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They reward themselves.
Yeah, trying to if they protect and serve the community, and it's kind of like yeah. Mine's concrete mixers at Culver's, but
oh, nice.
Yeah, if I have a good day at work, I'll get one of those.
Yeah, I eat donuts all the time.
Yeah. You do eat them all the time.
Absolutely.
Is there a particular favorite donut shop you have in Des Moines, or
actually,
some of your favorite ones?
I actually really just enjoy Casey's Donuts.
Yeah.
Just the typical, I think the maple cake donut. It's great. It's wonderful.
That's good. What's your favorite energy drink, or energy or coffee? Are you a coffie guy or energy?
I like coffee. Yeah. Energy drinks. I try to not drink them too much, just because they are bad. But there are some days where I'm like, I'm gonna need one today.
Let's pump it up.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like Red Bull usually.
Is there like a pump up song that your unit or police department, before you go out, that you guys blare it before getting in your cars?
Not exactly.
Like a football team or something like that.
Not exactly.
Okay.
The cop song is actually, that theme song is actually pretty funny though.
Yeah.
I've played it a few times as we're rolling out.
I just think of like you guys are kind of getting in your cars like you're about ready to run in the football field, and you have the final countdown or or Thunderstruck go
yes I do enjoy
pumping it up. No, because I imagine it's very exhilarating and exciting each day, but it'd be tough, but we appreciate that. So so kind of to show appreciation to police officers, writing cards, and if you're ever curious about doing drive-bys, and so
Ride-alongs.
or ride-alongs, not drive-bys.
Not drive-bys. Drive-bys are not good.
No, ride-alongs. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Ernesto, thank you for your service and giving more insight on what a police officer does, and support our police department and write cards. Do you guys appreciate any food, or like if someone drop off Krispy Kreme donuts, would that be welcome?
Yeah, it would make it down to us.
Yeah.
At some point, somehow.
That sounds good.
I'll lead that before.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Ernesto. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.